Welcome to People Love Process. We're going to have some fun in the content I want to take you through. In this movie, I'm going to be demonstrating how to put to use a new set of creative resources that I developed. It's called Beautiful Decay Spot Texture Brushes. And I'm going to be demonstrating this in Adobe Illustrator. But that said, if you get access to that set, it's going to be available through Retro Supply Company. There's a link in the description below. I'll remind you of that at the end of this movie. It just isn't for Illustrator. It covers Photoshop, Illustrator, Procreate, Clip Studio Paint, and Affinity suite of products, both designer and photo. So you can use it in whatever environment you prefer creating in. It isn't just limited to Illustrator, even though I'm demonstrating it in Illustrator. And the reason why I'm doing that is because there's a certain workflow I prefer. Now, before we start showcasing how to utilize those textures, let's first start with taking clean vector art, because vector art is known as clean hard edge surfaces and styling. And that's why it's great for branding. But when it comes to illustration at times, you might want to make it look more organic. And there's something we want to do before we start applying the brushes to the artwork. And that is, we want to take these this vector art and images and just give it a little more organic flair. How do you do that? Well, we're going to use a vector effect. So I'm going to select the inside of the eyeball. We'll select these little orb shapes here. So with everything selected, we'll go to the appearance panel and you see effects. We're going to click on it, go up to distort and transform, and we're going to go to roughen. This is going to bring up a pop-up window, and it defaults to something that looks absolutely horrible. But if this is what you're going for aesthetically, there, we're done. That's how you pull it off. But we're not going to be using it like this. I want to switch from relative to absolute. You can see it already looks better when we do that. And then we're going to click on smooth. And then from here, we can adjust it to make it more obtuse or make it more refined. And I think we want to make it more refined. So I'm going to punch in an amount here like that, and make sure you have preview on. That way you can see what it looks without, what it looks like with it on. Now it's acting like nothing's going on, something like that. I think that looks pretty good. So whatever you decide, I'm going to try a fractional number. Just because I'm working in points, you can you have anywhere from 1.0 to 1.9, so you can get fractional with them. That's kind of why I prefer that is using points when I create. If I'm doing a document, then I'll establish that in inches, because that's how I think when I think of a document. But when I'm creating art, I like working in points. Now, detail is how much detail you want to have in it. Right now, it's saying 10. And of sorts, this is a graphic style being applied to our vector art, and it's randomized of sorts. So if you make edits to it, it might change the look and feel a little bit. So we're going to punch in 13 here. And I think that looks good. So let's go ahead and go OK. So you can see now the art looks a little more organic, not so driven by the pen tool in vector art in general. If I go to keyline view, Command Y, you can see it's still just simple vector paths that I originally had. It's just applying that effect on the edge of those vector shapes to make it look more organic. Now, this is a random thing, so it's just wrapping around all the edge of all these shapes. So let's say I decide I want to have another tendril coming out on this side. So I create a shape like this, and I can select this shape now, and I can go to the Pathfinder, and we'd unite it with that shape like this. And it's going to lose that effect. So just keep that in mind. If you get an effect and you want it to look or retain it, if you edit it, it's going to default to the base vector that it has the effect applied on. So the way I work when I'm doing this, let's go ahead and round this little detail here I'll just, I'm using dynamic corners. You could use the corner widget if you want to, like this. We'll just put those little rounds because I do want that in there. I have it on the other ones like that. But notice the things that weren't connected to this shape, meaning they were free floating like the eye, it still has the roughen if you look at the appearance panel. So this is what I tend to do. After I set something like this, I'll go to the graphic styles. I can take this and I can just go hit the plus button. And now it's put that graphic style, the roughen, not the art. This isn't a symbol. It just takes the styling that's applied to this vector object and it saves it as a graphic style. Now you can click into this and you can go roughen edge, name it whatever you want. We're getting really original with this name, like that. That way, if you do make edits and you lose the graphic, you can just click your graphic style and it will apply that same level of aesthetic to it. So that's the benefit of making graphic styles. You can even save this as a set of graphic styles if you do most of them. So if we go here, we could apply black to this one, but maybe on this one, we'll select both of these and we'll apply to them. But I might want this one colored, our green color here, and I might want this one a white, like that. You can't see white because we're on a white background. And these themselves, I can go ahead and save a green version of the style and a white version of the style. Now this is going to make utilizing these within the context of a document like this a lot easier. Now, if we have something that's a complete compound path and I apply this style to it, you can see how it just turns that entire styling of that shape more organic. It doesn't look as perfect and clean. And that's kind of what we want to do with the base art we're going to be creating here. But it's a good creative habit to save your style once you get it to a point that you like it. Because one, it's going to remove the style if you make an edit, and you want to avoid losing it. So it's always a good habit to get into to save these as graphic styles as you move forward. Now, if we have another element on top here, we can apply the green one we saved to that, and you can see what that looks like. So it's a fun way to work, and this is what we're going to be doing with all of our base artwork. So the base color, the design I came up with is this. Then we have the primary elements of the design look like this. We have lower elements sandwiched between the base and the primary here, and then we have top objects that are above all the elements here. So it's really important to work in layers. It makes it easier. And all we're going to do is we're going to select the base layer here. Oops, I got an extra shape. We'll delete that. I'm going to select the base layer here, and I'm going to go to the graphic style we saved to green, and I can just click it, and it's going to apply that to that base layer. That looks good. We'll go to the white ones. We'll go ahead and select those layer elements, apply the white one to that. You can see how those got nice and rough. This one with the primary design, we'll apply black to that. You can see what those look like in the top objects. So it goes a lot faster. You don't have to select each individual item on a layer if you just click the layer select, and it will select all the objects on that layer. So if you use layers and you compose in layers, this is going to make texturizing our design a lot better using the resources that we're going to show you, because we'll sandwich them in between these layers to get the look and feel and aesthetic we're kind of going for in an organic way. So my vector art was clean, but now it has a base that it's a little more organic, but it's not as far as I want to take it, and that's why I created brushes. So it's really important to set up your layers. Note, I have primary layers set up. So if you go in the layer options here and we go down to panel options, it'll bring this up. By default, this is deselected. And if it's deselected, you're going to get the little sublayer triangle icon. You can toggle it on and off. I think it's overkill. I never use it. So I make sure to have this on all the time. So I'm just organizing by primary layer. It just makes life a lot easier. It kind of makes it closer to what you have in Photoshop, although in Photoshop you can have folders, which I think would be cool to have in Illustrator, but that's another topic altogether. So let's go ahead and detail our artwork with the brushes. So I'm going to turn these off for the moment, and I'm going to turn all the same respective layers on here: top objects, primary, lower objects, and the base. So we have that aesthetic applied to all of our shapes. It's just I've expanded it. So all of these are expanded because the ones I created originally, those are just the effects applied to those vector objects. So if you want to lock it in without any possibility of changing the aesthetic you established with that Roughen style, make sure you will want to select the shape, go up to object, and go down to expand appearance, and then you're going to end up turning all of them. It's going to add some, anchor points to it because it's more Bezier curves to get that roughen look, but that's okay. It's not a huge weight on the file. Now, immediately when I was working on this design, there's a wall in my studio where I have a bunch of toy robots. I kind of like toy robots. And one of them I had growing up looked like this guy. And so I just created a bitmap dithered TIFF of him. And I thought this guy would be fun to bring in to this design and see if I can work him into the design. I like that it's going to have texture. It looks a little roughened, but I want to have some almost like retro sci-fi element to it. So I'm going to bring this guy over and we'll center his eye right about there. But I don't want it black. Right now I have green. I don't want a lot of color in this design. I want to keep it minimal in terms of color. I think it's going to look better that way. But we're going to sample this color, go to the color palette, click on the CMYK, and I want to adjust this color to take it from what it is, 35, 60, 0 magenta, 0 black, and I want to make a shading hue. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut the value of 35. We'll go down to about 17 or so, something like that. And then 60, we'll cut that in half down to 30, like that. And I'm going to add some black to it just to mute it a bit. So we'll add about 20% black. So you can see it's the same type of color, but it's a muted value. And we'll drag this down like that. Make sure to turn on global and click OK. And now I'm going to select our robot bitmap TIFFs, whether they're dithered or half-toned. The white in them is transparent by default when you bring it into Illustrator. And also, somebody asked me a question last week, does that work the same way in InDesign? And I've never tried it in InDesign, but I started looking for an answer. And at least Google's AI answer when you do Google searches now answered and say, yes, it can. So you can do this according to Google. If that's not true, somebody let me know. But Google said you could do this in InDesign as well. I don't know if that's true. We're going to go ahead and color this our muted value. And you might be looking at this and going, well, gee, that doesn't look good. That just looks gray. Well, it looks gray because what we're going to do is go to multiply and turn on a blend mode, and that looks really good. So I like that because it kind of pushes it in the background, and I think that's going to look great. Now, years ago, I took a bunch of, created a bunch of nebulous kind of free-flowing halftones, and I made them in Photoshop so they're traditional halftones where you see it morph at that edge and then start going blending out. And I just wanted to add some halftoning as well to this. Now, because I'm selling this set through Retro, I wanted it to be kind of retro styled, but I also wanted modern aspects to it. So that's why we have some funky kind of graphics going on. But I'll just move this into position. I'm going to color this the same type of color. I'm going to go down, go multiply. On the robot, we kept it at 100% value, but I want to knock the value down on this one to 45. So I'm cutting off about a little over half the value. You know, I'll lock that in. I want it to be more subtle, but I don't want it showing up out here. So I've taken a copy of the background shape and we're just going to make a mask out of it. Now, I have keyboard shortcuts set up for a lot of things. Masking is one of them. If you don't, you just have to select both and you go to Object. You'd have to go all the way down to Clipping Mask and you go Make. That takes maybe a second and a half to do that. But think of how many times you might do that over the course of a year. What about the course of 10 years or 20 years or your whole career? Just think how much time that builds up. This is why I use keyboard shortcuts. So notice I have F1. I never do this. I just select both, hit F1, and it's masked. It's done. So I always thought it'd be curious to know how much time in the last 15 years have I saved doing that. Maybe I might have saved an hour, you know. It's not going to be huge, but it's something to think about. So with those set, I'm going to lock these layers. And now we're going to start texturizing. And where do I want to start texturizing first? Well, I think where I want to do is everything. I'm going to start in hierarchy. So this is our base layer. So I'm going to add a layer above it, create a new layer. And of course, whenever I'm creating a new layer, I always like using medium blue. It's just my preference. And we're going to name this layers because I intend on giving you the final art file so you can deconstruct that along with this file we're working in now. We'll call it brushwork 1 for the layering, like that. And we want to pick some of the brushes to start brushing in here. Now, yes, they come as brushes in the set, which you can access through the brushes palette, which I don't think I have open because I'm not going to do it that way. Personally, I don't like using vector brushes like that in Illustrator. I do, however, in the set provide this file. This file is all 100 and now I can't even remember how many are in the set. 114? Might be more than that. But anyway, these are all the brushes. I've organized them into 13 layers alphabetically. And this is where we're going to start because I can just select elements I want, like this brush. And by the way, if you don't want all of these anchors to show up, because that's a lot of anchors. If you go over here, it's like 11,000. You can go Command H like that, and it will show the selection, but won't show you the anchors. So if you prefer that, just go Command H, and you can hide the anchor previews. I kind of like having them on, so I'm going to go Command H and turn those off again. But I think the first one, there's some textures. Now, the more I've used these, I've kind of remembered the name. One is called splotch. So let's turn these on. Nope, those are scuff and scumble. Yeah, the splotch ones. This is where I'm going to start. I'm going to select splotch 3 here and copy it. I think there's one more splotch. Yeah, I did a lot of splotches. And just temporary, I'll do that. I'll select this one. I'll copy them. And then the one I don't need, I just delete it. I go back. We're going to make sure to have the layer selected we created for brushes. And I'll go ahead and paste these in place. Usually don't grab the artwork. Matter of fact, I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to lock all of these so I don't accidentally select those, just so I can highlight the brushes. What I tend to do is as I start working, I'll just put my brushes I brought in on the right side because I'm going to probably reuse some of them, and it just makes it easier to do that. And we're going to go ahead and grab a few more. So I'll go back. I think the first ones I saw were called Scuff, and I liked one of these. I think Scuff 3 looks pretty cool. So I'll copy that and go up here. Ooh, I like that one. So actually, let me paste this, select this, copy it, and then go back to our file. Again, I'll paste it on the same layer. Again, I'll move these over here like that. And all I'm going to do now is I'm going to start kind of editing my artwork and create it. So we're going to take the, I believe this one. One thing I could do, I should have selected these attributes and named them and have attributes palette to help me remember the names. But all I'm going to do is I'm going to take this, I'm going to color it green, make a copy of it, and I'm just going to position it here and just going to put it right on the edge. I want it going off, kind of like that, just to create a subtle little, I don't know, distress there. We'll take this one, I'll clone it. I'm going to rotate this more 90 degrees with this edge. And again, all I'm going to do is position it like this and then color it. That's just to add some artifacting on the edge there. Then I can take this one and copy it. I'll bring this one down here. Think something like this. And I'm going to color this green. We don't always have to have it the full value. So because we're using keyboard or global colors, I'll come in here and I'll set this one to be 50%. So it's eating away at the background. These two that I did here are full value, but we can go ahead and I'll make a copy of this one. I think I'll rotate this one 90 degrees and I'll bring this over to the side here and kind of position it where I think it'd look good. Something like that. I'm just paying attention to this edge here. And then on this one will also be colored green like that. Then I think I will take this one. I'm going to rotate it the opposite way. And I think on this one, I don't like the top of that. I'm going to go grab another one. Let's go over here. There's some other ones I saw. Thought I had ones called Scuff. Oh, there they are. Okay. This is the one I was looking at. I like that one. So we'll copy it. We'll come over here. I'll bring this one over here. Something like that. And I'm just going to color this one white because we don't want it all to be the same color. And I like how it just knocks stuff out, makes it look imperfect. I think we need some of that up here as well. So I think this one would work good for that. So we'll do that. We'll move this up into position. I think somewhere right around there would be fine. Color that one white as well. I think that looks pretty good. So this is all I'm going to do is just compose this way by just dragging in resources, applying the colors and rotating elements as I have need. But I think I want to start working on top of some of these shapes. The more I'm looking at this, I might not leave this robot in here just because it might get lost once I start texturizing. But let's create another brush layer. We're going to do it over the lower objects, so it's still sandwiched underneath the primary. So we'll add a layer here, and we'll call this Brushworks 2, like that. Oops, I'm looking at the wrong layer. We need to drag this up here, there, like that. And again, because I'm anal, I want that to be I want that to be colored blue. Notice all my layer colors. If you've never noticed that, yes, I like my layer colors blue. I'm just used to having that selection being that certain color. So all we need to do now is, I think I might reuse some of these elements or reuse this eventually. Now, by the way, you're going to run into this. I don't know what this is, but it happens at times in Illustrator where it gets this. You're not doing anything wrong. If you go to keyline view, it's showing this. Notice how it was showing up there. It's just a weird artifacting thing Illustrator does. It doesn't really cause any problems. It's just kind of annoying. So let's go back to our textures. We'll grab some more textures. Let's go down here, see if there's any textures here. And that's what I usually do. It's almost like the blend modes in Photoshop where I'm not sure what I want because I can never remember what they do. And I start scrolling through them until, oh, that's it. That's what I want. Ooh, this one's cool. I think we'll take that one and I'll copy it. And we'll go back up here. Nope. Go back up here. I think we'll just take the one we copied. And I'm going to paste it right here. Copy it, bring it over, make sure we're on the right layer. That's important. And I'm going to paste it in place. I might rotate this one 180 like that. So this is above the white elements sandwiched underneath the primary shape. So I'm just going to bring this up here. I think somewhere right around there would be fine. Color it white. It's still kind of acting like this one did, but because this one's behind the halftone effect, it's kind of changing the value. But I like that. I think that looks pretty good. We might just reuse one of the textures we have in here already. Like we could take this one right here. Or maybe this one. And we'll copy it. And like I'm just using them at 100%. You definitely don't need to do that. So if we bring this in, maybe I'm going to bring this up here. And because we have black, I'm going to go like this. I'm going to try something. That's too long. I'm not going to use that one. Maybe this one. Let's try that one. It's not quite as long or dense. Like this. And if I think it's too big, then I'll scale it down. I'm just trying to make it so it looks like the black is kind of, I can scale this down like that. So it's okay. I don't want it to go that far out, though. Maybe we rotate it like this. I think that looks okay. Nah, you know what? I'm getting picky. I'm going to go find a better one. So let's go back here. I can't remember. Did I bring this one in? I don't think so. Did I? Oh, I guess I did. Okay. Let's just go smaller then. I thought it was too big. Ooh, okay. I think that looks better. There. It kind of looks like the edge is kind of splattering out from the black. Like that. We'll go back here. Try a different splotch. Maybe we take this one, go back, paste. We haven't done anything down here, so we're going to just create a nice element that's going to be white, so it looks like that white bar is kind of breaking up down there. That looks okay. Like that. And I think that's all I need for kind of that hierarchy of leveling on the brushwork. I think we're going to add another brush layer, but we're going to do it above the primary to start really affecting the design. So I'll select the layer and add a brushwork there, like this. Click in, and yes, change it to blue, like that. I think we can take some of the ones we brought in, like this one I like. I'll copy it. I think I'm going to rotate this, kind of like that. And this is, again, on top of our primary artwork, so I obviously don't want it... I don't think I want it black, but I'm just going to move it up. I really like the linear kind of line running through that. I think it's kind of cool. So I'll just select this, and I think I'm just going to color this white, just so it starts. Oh, I put it on the wrong layer. Duh. Make sure you have the right layer selected. Bring this to white. And I think that looks good, flowing over the top, kind of breaking it up a little bit. That's all I wanted to do. Let's go ahead and, is there any of these other ones? Actually, we can take this one. We can go all the way down to here. And just so it's not the same exact orientation. And you'll see how forgiving this is when we finish all this, just because it doesn't matter if it's the same texture. It doesn't have to be the same value. Right now, this is 100%, but I think we can knock this down to like 70, and you get a really cool effect. It still overlaps things. We'll go ahead and use this again. We'll just go like this. We'll copy it. Maybe we rotate it back this way since it's so close to this one. And on this one, all I'm going to do is position it at the bottom edge. And so I'll go over here and I'll figure out where it looks good, like right about there. And on this one, I don't want it 70. We'll go back to 100, like that. And, ooh, I really like how it eats up that bottom part. That looks fine. Maybe a little too much. We can rotate it, so I can select this and just rotate it. There, you see a little more of the black. That looks better. Okay, let's get some newer kind of sprayed looking textures over here. And by the way, all the names of all these, I try to give them texture names like scuff and scumble and scratched and scraped. Let's see, I'm looking for my scraped ones. There's one specifically that I really like, Scrape 3. This is it. I like that. So let's bring that in. Put it here. Make a copy. And on this one, I'm just going to position this one. I don't want it to be black. I want this to be white. I think that looks pretty good. Maybe down just a little bit. That looks good. We can go back to like, we could use this one. I think I have the same one here twice by accident. Okay, we'll just take this one then. And we'll just rotate it. I'll position this over the edge on the right side. We need to break up some of this. Kind of like that. Again, we're going to color most of these white, and this one will knock it to like 50%. I think that looks good. Now, if I zoom in on this, it's hard to see it affecting the black there. Now, if I went to a higher value, like, I don't know, let's try 70, like that, you can see it's still harder to see. So that's because this is a rich black. But I like it lighter going over the other areas, so I'm going to go back to 50 like this. Zoom back out. We'll do a few more. I'm going to go to, I know I have one that has some of that linear feel to it. I want to say it's on this layer. Nope. I do like that one. This isn't the one I have in mind, but I'm going to copy that one regardless. Nope. And this is what I literally do, is I'll just go ahead and click through until I see something that's gonna work. Now, if I can remember the name, then of course I'll just go to the layer and, you know, try to do it that way. But I don't always remember the name. The more I use these, the more I'm remembering certain ones because, you know, I have my favorites, of course, whether it's fonts, whether it's textures. Oh, there it is. This is the one I was thinking about. We'll paste the other one. We'll just bring both of these in. And I'll go ahead and copy. Go back. Paste them in like that. I'll put this one down here. This is how I actually work when I'm creating and not recording videos. So it's pretty sloppy. I just use the artboard to store stuff in, and then once I'm done, I'll select it and toss it. But we're going to take this one. I'll copy it. I'll bring it up here. We need to break up this area, so I'll paste it. Make sure it's on the right layer. I keep going to the wrong layer here, like that. By the way, what I should do is just lock these layers. If I think I'm done with them, then I wouldn't be able to do that. Okay, we'll take this one. We're going to color it white like this. And then you can position it. And I just try to find a nice balance of it eating through certain areas and how it affects the other elements and just make the decision. So I'll do that. And then on this one, we'll go to 70%, just so it interacts with the colors as it's going over. I just noticed something, and I'm not sure. So this one's colored white, and it's grouped, and it's 70%. But if I go down to this one, actually, oh, maybe that's what I did. Okay, see, I might have just goofed up. If so, we'll fix it. Okay, if I select this one, oh, duh. Again, see, that's why I need to lock these layers. Otherwise, I'll keep doing that. Okay, and we'll lock the second layer. So this is what it should look like. It was stumping me for a second there. Why is it not showing up on the black? Okay, so my bad. This is why using layers is important, but make sure you're pasting it on the right layer or it's not going to behave or act the way it should. Okay, what else do we need to do? Well, I think what I'm going to do, actually, I like this one. I'm going to copy it, and I'm going to bring that one all the way up here and just use it to eat away this corner. So we'll do something like that. That looks good. And then I think what I'm going to do, and again, I'm going to take this one, which has that, we'll just copy it, Command C, Command F. If I bring it like this, so it has that long arm, but it's pretty close to this one. And I want to show you, you can edit these. As long as you don't delete your original source, you can edit these. There's no problem doing that whatsoever. Just double click into isolation mode, grab like the lasso tool. Like let's say we want to get rid of this tendril kind of coming out here. You just do something like this, delete it like that, back out, and you have a different brush essentially. It's not going to be similar enough to this one. You might, if you're really anal, you might notice this. Now that I'm looking at this, I think I'm just going to get rid of my dither robot. I don't think we need it. I like that better. Okay. So let's see, is there any other area I want to detail on this? I think that's it for this one. We'll keep working on this. This process doesn't go extremely fast, and if you're not talking and trying to explain certain things, it'll go a lot faster. So what we're going to do is we're going to add another brush layer. This one will be above the previous brush layer, so we'll do it here. And so the top object will still be above it, and so we'll go here. We'll name this one Brush Work 4, like that. Again, I like changing the layer color to blue. And on Brushwork 4, we're going to go ahead and this is where I think it's going to come to life, because right now we don't have any green kind of interacting with the top layer, and I think that's really going to improve the aesthetic if we can do that. And we want to make sure it's on this layer here, so make sure to have that layer selected. We're going to go back and grab some more linear type textures. Like you can see, like this one's long, whereas this one's more squatty. This one's, you know, not so long. We want some long ones here, or ones that will work good in a long context. So we're going to go back up here to the S's and splotch 6. I might have brought this one in. I can't remember. Like that. Now that I'm thinking about it, I liked this one, so I'll paste. So we'll grab these two, we'll copy. And then there's another one in here that was made from fabric. I scanned in this one, this Warren 3, which is really cool. So, oops, make sure I'm on the right layer. Paste the two that I copied, and I'll do this. I'll copy them. And let's go back. We can start putting these. Maybe I put them over on this side, like this. And I'm going to go over here and just look at some of the ones I have here. I think this one might be no. Let's apply these. I might come back and grab some of those other ones. Let's clone this. I want this to run down on the left-hand side. So we'll just rotate it like this. And when I create all these brushes, I tried to make them as much as you can with the texture to be 90 degrees, so it's easier to reposition, rotate. That said, you can do literally anything you want with them. So I'm going to position this here, and just keep in mind, this isn't going to be this magenta color. I want this to be green, and I want it to look like it's kind of scraping over the surface. But textures are forgiving. You can distort these. So I'm going to distort these and go all the way down, you know, right about there. I think that looks pretty good. And I can select this and I can color it green. And I think that looks really nice, actually. If I bring it over a little, that looks even better, like that. And it's okay if some bumps out like that in terms of the artifacting. I think that just adds to it. Now, I just added this one, but I can clone this, bring it down here. Let's say I want it smaller. I can make it extremely smaller and then use that one to manipulate the edge on this shape like that. And then you can pull it up or distort it just to get a nice weatherized look there. That's fine. Or we can take this one. Notice how you get that artifact was showing up. By the way, if you get too many artifacts, you can always go up under Window and, View, and go View using CPU, and it will usually resolve it. So if you run into those kind of weird artifacting things happening, just try that first. I'm going to take this, I'm going to clone it. We'll go ahead and color it. The color we can see easier, like that. I'll bring this over, you know, might position it right here, but I don't want it going too far up, so I can pull this down. Again, these are textures, so very forgiving in terms of distorting and using them because they already look degraded, so you're not going to ruin the aesthetic as if it's... Now, if this is a typeface, no, you should never do that with the typeface. But textures, I mean, wow, one of the most forgiving things you can use. And then I'll just color this black. So I think that looks good just in terms of it kind of eating through this and overlapping this. Now, if you wanted this to be on top, you could always reposition this so it's on top. I think that actually looks better. So within the layer, you can do a hierarchy of elements to get the look and feel you want. Again, we'll take this same resource. I'll just duplicate it. Maybe I decide I want it to run down this side. So I can just rotate it to kind of align with this kind of funky characters positioning. And then I can just put it where I think it would look best to interact with those elements. And I like that it eats away here and it eats away here. That might be a little too long. Let's go ahead and distort it back like that. Yeah, I think that looks better. So really forgiving to utilize textures in this way. And notice I've now applied this 1, 2, 3, 4, you know, we're going to do it a 5th time. And it's the same texture, and you're going, well, why don't you use a different texture? Well, you can. It's not that you're doing anything wrong, but you don't always have to, because not every aspect or edge of this texture is going to be showing up enough to cause somebody to look at your artwork or your design and see it being replicated more than once. So it's kind of nice in that respect that it's very forgiving in terms of how you use it. I think I might just leave it there. Like, I'm going to drag it down a little bit like this. Overlap that one. I think that looks good. And then I think I'm going to use it again. I'm going to clone this, bring it down here. And this one, I don't want it so tall, so I'll go narrower, kind of like that. We might try a white or something. Yeah, I like that. Okay. Next thing I want to do is we're going to take that worn texture. This one. Now, most of them we used at the exact size, but I might bring this one up here like this, more towards the center. And then if I want it to size up, I can size it up. Now, of course, if you go, 12 feet tall on a banner, let's say, the larger the size you go with vector images that have been traced, even if they're a texture, you can get to a breaking point where it just doesn't look that authentic. So I would say just be reasonable when you do that, because that's why I don't like image tracing artwork. Textures are more forgiving. I don't mind so much when it comes to that. But when it comes to artwork, the larger you go with a vector object, that's a texture, the less authentic it's going to look. Because if right now we're at about 100%, and this is larger than a regular 8.5 by 11 document, but if I really zoom in here, this is what you're going to see, but this is also at 5,000%. So it's never going to be viewed that large. So you don't really have to worry about that. But if I bring this down, now we're going to start interacting with our primary artwork here. And I think this looks pretty good having it. I'll just figure out where I want to position it. And I think something right about there is fine. And then I'm going to copy this. I want this to be behind the worn one I did. And I'll go Command B. Like that. I think that, I like how it interacts here. That looks really cool. Okay. Let's see. We're going to do some more. Again, we'll go back to, we'll take our splotch texture. I'll paste it up here. I want to kind of eat away at elements up here, but I want it bigger and I want it green, not white. And then I'll pull it over. Don't want it overlapping that too much. We'll do something like that. Ooh, I like that. That looks good. Again, we're I don't know how many times we've used this splotch texture, like at least 6, maybe 7. We're going to use it again. I guess I'm trying to make a point here is that it's a texture, so you don't have to, like if we just copied and reused certain artwork, let's say we're illustrating, I always use this as an example. Let's say you're illustrating a forest. Don't create one tree and clone it, 20 times, because it won't look as great. But textures, you don't have that problem. It's pretty nice the way they work. Maybe pull this in just a little. Something like that. So you can see it's already looking pretty beat up. I think we're going to do one more. Let's grab another texture. So I'm going to go here. I have something called Thrash, which always reminds me. Thrash. This one's cool. I'll copy it. I wasn't really thinking that one. When I was in, okay, here's a goofy little story. When I was in high school, we were in a DMV class. They don't even have DMV classes in high school anymore. Learning how to drive. There's this guy, David Haynes. He's driving. I'm in the back seat. And he doesn't take the corner too well, and he hits somebody's garbage can, knocks it over. What's his first reply? And it was because at that time, a really popular term at that time was the word thrash. And so he hits this garbage can, knocks it over, it starts sliding down the street, and first thing out of his mouth, thrash. And I just started laughing because I just thought it was funny, you know. Okay, I'm going to go down here and grab this one and just copy it and paste it on this layer. Because before we apply that, I think I want to take this and I'll bring, actually, let's just color it so we can see it in context. Ooh, that, actually, maybe I shouldn't even move it. That looked pretty good. That looks good. I like how it's eaten away there. Okay. Anyway, that just, so many 80s, 1980s is kind of mid to late 80s is when I kind of went to high school, and boy, I'm aging myself there. But I still love 80s music. I remember getting my daughter's car. She was giving me a drive to pick up my automobile from the, I don't know, I think is at the dealership or whatever. And trying to figure out, maybe I'll put it just to eat away some of those elements that are showing through. I like how it does that in the eye. Anyway, I get in her car and she has a playlist that starts up and it's all 80s music. And it's like I had never kind of told her about 80s music or, hey, 80s music's awesome, you should listen to it. I would if she would ask me about music, but I never did. But she had all these 80s tunes and they're awesome. And I'm going, this is a great playlist. I go, I didn't know you like 80s music. She goes, 80s music's awesome. And I go, yeah, it is. So whenever I post reels or stories on Instagram, I'm always trying to pick 80s music. Okay, I think that looks pretty good. I'm just kind of figuring out if I should add anything more. I think I will. I think I'm gonna take this one. That might be on the other layer. Yeah, it is. I'm gonna copy this here, paste it here, and I think I'm gonna color this green. And this is what I literally do is I'll just kind of move it around until I think it looks good overlapping. I think maybe we have some, I don't want to eat away too much. That looks good. Maybe some interacting on the bottom there. Ooh, like that. So you can see I'm just moving around, finding areas that I think improve the aesthetic. I kind of like this one being pretty dark, so but we can distort this if we don't want it to interact with certain elements. Oh, that looks good. And I might move a copy of it down here. Maybe I rotate it. That looks good too. And I think this area is still a little too, for lack of better terms, clean. So let's try this. Let's go here. Maybe we try 70% on that. Yeah, I think that's fine. I think we're going to do one more brushwork layer, and this one's going to be above the top elements because all those are too clean. We need to mess those up. Actually, the more I look at this, I think this area needs to be, for lack of a better term, scumbled. Let's do this. Let's go ahead and create the brush work. We're at 5. And then I'll name it, color the layer. I'm going to ungroup these because I have some of these brushes sitting on the side, which I could still use. Like I haven't used that one. I'll bring these all up to this layer. Like that. Move this one up there. And then we'll go to this side. We'll take that one. And I'll move that up. So we can lock all these down below. Let's move this up over here. And I just want to break this up. So let's do that for, maybe that's where, oh, I guess I did have that one in. Okay, we'll just take this. I'm going to bring this in here. And we'll see what it looks like white. Oh, I like that. I think done. Here's a little artifact here. Notice if you put something over it and drag it away, it'll resolve. It's just a redraw thing. It's no big deal. And then maybe we do something here. So we'll take the exact same one. We'll rotate it 90 degrees. And I'm just going to go green. It's a little much. Maybe just make it smaller. Again, if you want to edit it, just, you know, as long as you don't have other elements you're going to interact with, you could just do this with the lasso. It doesn't need to be precise. I'll do that. So we get rid of everything on the right. We don't even need the central stuff. And then that way I could position, there we go, like that. So very flexible in terms of using it in that respect. Okay, so brush work. What we want to do on the next brushwork is we want to eat away some of the elements that are on the top or interactive. And right now we've used a lot of different brushes to get that. First, before I jump into that, let me first, I think just the one area that's kind of bugging me is this area right here. So let's see if we can resolve that. I think we have used that. So I'm just going to get rid of this one, and looks like this one was on the wrong layer. Let's move that up here, lock that layer. I might move this one here. Let's see what this one looks like if we color it white. It's not bad, but I don't like it eating at the glasses. So let's try 50%. That looks good. Add some elements there. I want to bring some distinct greens. So what I'm going to do is, again, I'm going to take the lasso tool and I'll just do this. Get rid of the heavy areas. This is pretty lightly spotted. So I'll rotate it, something like this, color it green, move it into place, and I think that will add enough of that texturing there. I might copy it, bring it up here. There, I like that. Okay, I think we've grunged it up a bit, if you will. Okay, let's go ahead and select these and just delete them. We don't need them. The last one I want to show you, and we'll do it on this layer as well, is a different way you can work. And that is, right now, most of these are like surface textures I derive, like this cloth kind of texture, all the edge textures, etc. But I also created brushes that are more speckling. And the speckle brushes are awesome. So I think we have 3 of them. And yes, I called most of them speckles. So if we go in here, turn this on, and here we go. Okay, so what I want to do is I want to grab this speckle 1, and we'll use speckle 2. And we'll grab speckle 3. And there's another that's kind of like speckling, but we'll use that again. It's the worn one. I use the middle. It's just these speckles are awesome. So let's go ahead and just copy these, go back to our file, make sure we're on this layer, and I'm just going to paste them like this. And I'll bring these over and just position them like this. And now we'll put them to use. Now on the previous layer, I had this one, which is like a worn one. I'm going to copy that because I think I want to use that again. And I'll paste it on this layer. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and color this one white. But I still think this area up here needs more. So I'll position it like this. I'll go white. And then I'll go value. And I'll do like 50, 55%, something like that. And I think that, I love this like texturing it puts in the black areas on that. Okay, with these speckle brushes, super, super easy to use. We can grab this one and bring it over. Actually, let's go ahead and color it because I want this one white just to get some white speckles in here. And notice how this looks as we're dragging it over. It just looks really, really cool. So we just want a light speckling. Now, because this is falling on white over here, it's no big deal. If I was going to send this to a client, you know, I'd clean it up, or I'd probably just rasterize everything as a high resolution TIFF. That'd just be even easier. So I'd never deliver it with all this vector art. You're just asking for problems in it. So what we're going to do is we'll go ahead and grab this one. We'll clone it. You know, obviously you can get bigger with it. So let's get a little bigger. We'll go over here. And again, we're just adding characteristics to the artwork. So let's go ahead and color it the color we want, which is white. And then you can position it wherever you want. So if I go over here, I'll do it more towards the center just to add some nice speckling over everything. You can see how nice that looks. That looks awesome. Okay, let's go ahead and grab another one. You know, we have some dense speckles down here. I think what we want, actually, we have this one over here. Let's just copy that. We'll color it green. And on this one, I'll bring that down here. I don't even need it this big. Maybe we want it a little smaller, like that. That doesn't look bad. Or we bring it over here, so it, I think I like that better. That way it overlaps the eyeglasses a bit. That looks good. Then I'll go ahead and grab this one. And on this one, I think what I'm going to do is size it a little bit, clone it, color it green, bring it over here just to get some nice speckling, those large areas of black like that. Might take this one, crease it, color it green. I think bringing that over here, but we'll use this for a larger area, so I'll go ahead and increase it like that. I think that looks better. Now, if you think you have too many speckles in any given area, I think this looks good, but let's say you didn't want these to overlap this area here. Just double click into these groups. You're in isolation mode. Then you can grab this, the lasso tool and just lasso an area you want to clean out and just delete them. It's that easy. And then you can retain an edge like that if you really wanted that to be that way. So it just depends on the look and feel you're going for. Let's do a few more of these. We'll grab this one. And on this one, I think we want this to be white, so I'll color it white. I might even bring it over here and position it. Maybe you want larger. We can go larger. like that. I think that looks pretty cool. Let's use this last one here. Maybe color it green. I think I'll do it here. I'll make a clone of it. I'll move it up here. I'm going to go into isolation mode. I don't want all these out here, so I'll go like this. Again, you don't have to be perfect, like that. And then I can go into isolation mode here. By the way, if you didn't know, isolation mode came from, it was a feature from Macromedia Flash that Adobe picked up on and integrated into Illustrator, which I used to use isolation mode in Adobe Flash all the time. I think now that I'm looking at this, I'm thinking I want to go back and adjust one thing. I can't remember what brushwork layer I was on. Maybe this one? Nope. Nope. Oh, I think it was this layer. Yeah, okay. I think on this one, I want to adjust that. I like having this more open in here, but instead of 100%, I'm going to go to 70. Yeah, I like that better. Okay. Now, there's a lot of things you can do with these brushes. This is how I would take this, and now, you know, if you compare it previously with the non-brushed artwork, you can see how organic it looks now. It's a lot of anchor points, you know, don't get me wrong. If I go key line view, we have a lot of anchor points, but that's okay. I think this would work great for a design, but there's one more thing I want to show you. And I've shown this in a previous movie where you can take a collage type texture. Now, this texture is something I created using surface textures that I've collected for years. And this is just a high resolution ping. So it's showing through in a few areas. You can see these rings kind of showing up through. So there's transparent areas. But notice this melting area up here. That comes from like a rusted, painted iron can in a junkyard I took photographs of years ago. I also used part of it down here. The other elements are just textures from surface textures, and I just mashed it all together. I have a folder on my desktop. Whenever I see something that's a cool, like crude color thing, it might be an old sign or something, I drag and drop it in there. I don't care what resolution it is. And I took all those and mashed everything together to create this collage. So why am I showing you this? Because you could take something as kind of random as this, select it, go to your transparency palette, and in this case, we can select overlay, and look at how cool it works. I mean, it's that simple where you can introduce other subtle colors. So I just wanted to show you that and include it, but that's not what we're going to do. We're going to stick with our assets. So I'm going to turn on this overlay, and we're going to do the same overlay effect, but we're going to use one of the brushes. And it's one of the first ones I created. So I remember this one. It's called Artifact. We're going to go here, and we're going to select this. And this came... If you want to know where I derive these textures from here, these three, it's from the slums in Nairobi, Africa. When I was there helping shoot a documentary to raise money for this ministry that helps people in the slums to make microeconomic businesses, I took photographs of all the textures I saw there. There's so many cool ones. We're going to take this one and put it to use now. So I'm going to copy this, go back to my file. We're going to go to overlay, and I'm going to paste like that. And just so we have it roughly in the center, we'll align it with our document, kind of like this. But it doesn't have to be a perfect alignment. What do I mean by that? Meaning, you can size it up. All of us, all of these brushes, I've used either at the size, smaller size, or a little larger. But this one, I'm going to go extremely large here. So I'll go like this. And I'm going to distort it because it doesn't need to be perfect. Like this. Go all the way down here. We'll bring this out like this. And we'll bring this to the top like that. I'm going to select this. I'm going to go color it this color. And with this color, I'm going to go to blend mode and go overlay, and boom. You get that same type of effect, but it's utilizing just the vector brush that's in the set. So a lot of cool stuff you can do with it. So experiment with these resources. Now, the last thing I'm going to do, and this isn't, I've included this with the texture brush set, even though it's not technically one of the assets, it is in the files that I include in the sample files, of course, and that's surface textures. So if you want to start creating your own texture resources, start with your old toothbrush. Don't throw it away. Save it. And then that way you can take it and use it to create a texture like this. I created all these kind of splatter textures years ago with an old toothbrush. It's been a while, so I should probably create another set like this. Do a movie on it. It's kind of fun. But this, so all we have to do is align it with our artwork like this. And maybe on this one, you could color this all green like that. That's okay. You could color it white. Or maybe you wanted to add some of the black flecking in it, which I think is the one to go with, since we have flecks in other colors. And I think this just puts that final touch on the whole design. If I turn this off, without that, not bad. With it, I think that little hint of black actually helps the look and feel. Now, in the exercise files for this content, you're going to find all the brushes I utilize. Now, this won't be part of the elements because you have to get the set to get all of them. But the ones I did use, you'll find within the exercise files. So make sure to check that out. Hopefully you found the methods and approach I shared in this video helpful. I've included a link to my Beautiful Decay spot texture brushes on Retro Supply Company's website in the description below this movie. So check that link out to get more information. And all of those come with additional usage examples, both for Photoshop, Procreate, and Adobe Illustrator. So make sure to check those out. Now, also remember, my Beautiful Decay spot textures can be used not just with Illustrator. You can use it with Photoshop, with Adobe Fresco on iPad. You can use it with Procreate on an iPad. You can use it with Clip Studio Paint on the iPad or the desktop, or Affinity Design, which is Affinity's Canva now owns them. It's their equivalent of Illustrator, or Affinity Photo, their equivalent of Photoshop. I provide all those resources in this one product. So regardless of whatever creative tool you prefer to use, I look forward to seeing how you put them to use. I made it extremely accessible to anybody, regardless of what platform they use. So remember, if you're a member of People of Process channel, you're going to receive this entire set for free. And I'll be sending that out shortly after it drops. Actually, it's dropping today. So the day this movie goes out. So if you're a member of the channel, you get all these resources anytime I create them for absolutely free. That's how I thank you for supporting this channel. and helping me develop the content that I create. So for those who aren't members, you can still get access to some of the texture brushes, which I demonstrate in this movie. And as always, those can be accessed through the exercise files, which you can also find a link for in the description below. Until next time, once again, thank you for watching People of Process. And as always, I hope you enjoy this content. But more importantly, I hope it helps you improve your own creative process.